top, you're having a tendency to come in a little flat, which means you're taking the club a little bit too far to the inside, actually. So what I want you to do is show me your back so we can hold it at the top.
All right.
Just do what you would normally do. Okay. So what we have here is a club face that's pointing way inside. We want this club face to point right at the target. So that what that means is you're going to be right in this position. Now how do we get in that position? Take the club all the way down for me. Stop at the halfway point. Okay. That's a good position because right here we have a square club face.
So like,
Yeah.
when you hit pitch shots, do you want to set up more, like, do you still want the ball in the center of your body more, or do you want to play it more towards like the back of your stance, or like?
Well, it depends on the situation. With this here, we might want to play middle to a little on the back side for wedges, yeah.
Okay. And probably
About halfway.
like halfway outside.
Yep.
Too much of a fall. That's like the hardest part for me when it comes to like pitch shots is like keeping it shorter back. So
Keeping the same distance from both ways, yeah. All right, Jamie, you're doing a really good job chipping. And you were telling me about you had this golf school or whatever, or camp.
Yeah, I went to a golf camp when I was in 8th grade. And did a lot of chipping practice.
Yeah.
A lot of the fundamentals of chipping.
And what was that thing you did as a drill to help out with that?
They used to take a bucket, just a range bucket, and put it probably like 10 to 15 yards away or so.
Yeah.
And we'd practice chipping into the bucket as a challenge.
Well, I think it did a lot of good because your fundamentals are great at chipping. You know, what you do is when you're over the ball, you do narrow your stance great and you open up a little bit. And your ball position is on the, a little far on the back, which is great. And you have the club more upright so you can take more of a path like a putter. And let's just see it right now so I can describe it. Yeah, that ball's a little more toward your feet, which is great. Not as much as the full swing forward. And you have your grip is choked down on it, which is perfect. It's in a great position right now. So I'm going to ask you a few questions here. What are a few things you think about before you hit your putts?
Well, sometimes depending on where I'm at, I try to read the slope, you know,
Yeah.
right to left, whatnot.
Mhm.
I tried to the best of my ability to like keep the same plane, like the same path, like bringing the putter back and coming through. Because I feel like sometimes I have an issue with like an outside in swing or inside out. So
Gotcha. Yep.
just try to keep a consistent plane. Doesn't always work.
Mhm. Do you ever think about speed of the putt at all?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Because I'm noticing a little bit that your speed is a little off. You're kind of hitting them a little too hard past the hole.
That's something I got to work on.
Speed is one of the most important parts of putting, getting the speed down, especially with the long putts. You know, you want to have a good lag putt where you can have an easy two putt, kind of leave it within 3 feet of the hole if you're outside of 20 feet or so. All right, Jamie, address the ball for me. Here. One thing I noticed, where do you think you have that ball position?
Well, I was aiming for like middle of my feet, like
Mhm.
between, but I think it's slightly forward at this point.
Right now it's either middle or even slightly back.
Slightly back. Oh.
And ideally when you putt, you want it either middle of your stance or even more toward forward. So that's a little better. You could even take a half step back a little bit. That's good. And another thing, where you make your Y, with your arms, you know, naturally coming down. I'm noticing it's a little far back as well. So you can almost make that go a little forward. Not dramatically too much, but that's a good position right there.
Alright.
It's a great point, Brian.
Thanks, Jake.